give us an outlook on the 2020 lines.
Okay, to my right is player number 7, Peyton Weirwine. He was a starting safety for us last year, receiver. Probably be in both those roles again this year. To my left, Jackson Burns started at left tackle for us. Both these kids are senior leaders for us, great super kids. Like to interject a story about both these guys. The one to my right, Weirwine, he's a 3-sport player. You don't see much of that anymore. Good baseball player, good basketball player, and a good football player. Last year was his first year to come out. Didn't play football in some of the younger grades. Wound up being one of our better players, and we're anticipating that again this year. Jackson to my left started at Y for us played Y for us last year. Was backup Y behind a kid that we got in South Alabama now. And we was a little thin in the offensive line, so we asked him to move down to the tackle position. He was willing to do that. Wound up started all ball games at left tackle position, done a really good job for us, and we expect him to be a leader for us on the offensive line again this year. So really proud of both these guys. They're true epitome of what a teammate is and a team player is, and proud to have both of them with us today. You know, we, of course, Coach Rob talking about going 3A. He's kind of gone the opposite direction that we have at Sardis in my 10 years being there. We started out, my first year, of course, we were a 3A program. Then the next 6 years, we jumped into that 4A region that he was talking about. And, you know, real proud our last year was in that 4A region that we won the region. And then next year, of course, we moved to 5A and been 5A. This will be our 3rd year in 5A. And in a pretty tough 5A region. It's changed up a little bit this year, but we were in a fairly tough region last year. But, you know, our program has really grown, our school's really grown, our community's grown, and, you know, I don't know if we could choose if we'd rather be in the 4A, 5A. They're both tough, both competitive, but it is what it is. We'll accept the challenge and we'll move on. But lost a lot of good seniors last year. Of course, we had a tight end now that's practicing. I talked to him this week at South Alabama, doing really well down there. We had 3 or 4 other kids that played. It was a special group of seniors, I guess you would say, that had played together for several years. A lot of those kids played both ways, and kind of how I look at that, you've got a kid that played both ways. Somebody said, how many guys did you lose? If you lose one of them, to me, you've actually lost 2 players. So we lost a lot of good football players last year. We're going to be young this year. We're going to have about 9 seniors on our squad. Most of those guys will play. We picked up a couple of kids that were starters as 10th graders that for some reason didn't play their junior year that are back out there now, so we can kind of count them starters. But we're going to return about 4 starters on offense, 2 offensive linemen and a couple of receivers. Defense is about the same thing. We got 2 guys in the secondary back and 2 pretty good outside linebackers back. So we got a lot of holes to fill. Got a lot of good young kids. You know, we're trying to coach them up, and we're going to try to play as many kids as we can. We're right now in practice trying to platoon a little bit, simply to build some depth. I'm not saying that we're not going to play some guys both ways. I'm sure we will. And we're working that in practice as we go. But got a lot of youth out there, so kind of excited about that in a way. You know, I know Coach Rob talking about being in this a long time, but a lot of times as coaches, you get in, you got a team that returns a lot of talent and everything. You kind of know what to expect, or a lot of experience, I should say. But you got these younger kids. It's kind of a challenge as a coach to see where you can take those kids. I told them last week when we were out there, and I've been wanting to do this for years, is film the first practice or so and just put it back somewhere. And then 3 or 4 weeks later when we get ready to play, film them again and kind of show the difference from where you started and where you're getting to. So, you know, we can see improvement with these young guys every day. They're giving great effort. We've had a good summer program, what we could do. We asked them to come in usually 2 days a week in the summer. This year, simply because we were behind, we asked them to come 3 days a week, and we've had really good participation. I think that's the biggest difference with me. We can make up, you know, missing spring training is not a real big factor with me, but we can make up that time a little bit. But the biggest thing for us, I think somebody said, how does it affect teams? I think veteran teams, it doesn't affect them that much, but you got a young team. The biggest thing to me that they miss is that time in the weight room, especially when we got out in March, because those last 3 months of school, we really hammered the weight room and in spring training. So that's something you can't make up. You know, maybe you can make up practice time and schemes and that kind of stuff, but to me, it's hard to make up missing a workout. So we're kind of like everybody else playing catch up there, and kids really worked hard, and we're excited about where we're at right now.
Coach, a question, lost most of your skill players, quarterbacks, skill players. Talk about some of the guys that's going to step into those positions for you.
Yeah, our backup quarterback last year was Brody Samples, and he started at safety. And this year he's moved in the role over there at quarterback. I don't anticipate to see him at safety much, except maybe in emergency situations, but he is capable of playing there. Right now he's accepted a role, probably leading candidate to be our starting quarterback. The thing about him, he throws the ball fairly well, but we'll have a little bit more run factor. He's got a good speed. I would say we got more of a running back at quarterback than we had last year, so he'll step into that role. Torrin Bright returns out there at receiver, and we've just been anticipating that breakout year for him, and hopefully this is going to be his year for him, the senior year. Of course, Peyton to my right here will be involved in our offense more. You know, he'll be in the receiver role. He'll be in the backfield some. We've got to get the football in his hands a good bit this year. So that'd be 2 or 3 or 4 of our leading candidates. Avery Carroll ran the ball some for us last year. Played in most JV games, but in some of the varsity games he got in and ran it. He'll be the leading candidate there to carry the ball out of the backfield a good bit for us. So why we have got a kid, Carson Grant, that was a backup quarterback for us, that came out, and the few days he's practiced has looked really good. And so, you know, the rest of it's going to be by committee. Jackson's brother over here, Garrett, be a 10th grader, big long kid. We'll play him at receiver a good bit. So, you know, got some young talent there. We just got to get them in the right spots and get the football to those guys.
Is Jackson the only returning starter on the line, or anyone play?
Garrett Howington started at left guard some. Him and Garrett were the two on the left side that started for us too. He's a senior.
So you have to get a couple more guys to step up.
Oh yeah. We're right now, the way we're platooning, we've got 7 guys that we're actually rotating. Very good possibility we could see 2 ninth graders start on our O-line, and you know, I know a lot of people shy away from that, but several years ago, you may remember the group that had Braden Lacey and Coffee in that group. I mentioned some of those names. Anthony Coffee, both those guys started as ninth graders, and of course we had a ninth grade quarterback in Logan Gadsden. I think we actually started 5 ninth graders that year. You know, they took their lumps a little bit, very competitive, but you know, as seniors, they were the group that won that 4A, pretty tough 4A region. So, you know, they're capable of doing it.
Hey, Coach, talk about your staff a little bit. I know you lose a tremendous football coach, and you're unbelievably proud of them.
Yeah, you know, it's since we've been there, we've lost several good assistants, and you know, a lot of people can look at that 2 ways. And I started thinking maybe it's me, that they don't work for me or whatever, but hopefully that's not the case. But you know, I think when you get good assistants and people hear they're good workers, they're good help, that kind of stuff, then people are going to target them for head coaches. You know, and most of the guys have left. It's been you know, an upward thing for them. It's not been a lateral move for them. So we got, you know, I just talked to Coach Matt Harris here, just left, just took the Gadsden job, has been an assistant for us and kind of moved through the ranks. He just coached our O-line for a few years. Then we moved into offensive coordinator last year, and he did a great job, and now has got an opportunity to be a head coach, which, you know, we're proud for him. Think he'll do a good job down there. And of course, we've got Bubba Jennings that was with us a couple of years, and he's moved on. Took the head coach at Douglas, and then of course we had Dusty Darnell who was with us, and he's now the head coach at Crossville. So, you know, we're proud for those guys to get an opportunity to move up, and you know, it's just kind of like losing players. When you lose those guys, you got to get more guys in. You get guys that fit what you do, and we feel good about the guys we've got right now. We've got what I would term a young staff. Of course, Clay Wright's still with us. He's been there longer than I have, and Coach Ty Harris with us, at Coach D-line. He's been with me a long time. We brought back Bron P. that played for us years ago. He's going into coaching right now. He's going to school. He's going to help us with our secondary. We hired Derek Snell to coach our offensive line. He helped us last year as a volunteer coach, and we hired him in a full-time position. And then Corey Franklin's been with us several years. He's going to coach our quarterbacks and running backs. And of course, Tori Ellett's been with us. He coached our junior high. We gave him an opportunity to move up, and he's working with our running backs. So it's kind of a young staff, but you know, they got a lot of excitement there, and you know, I think they're going to do a good job for us.
To the guys, those seniors, right? So last Wednesday or Thursday, the state, you probably heard me ask this question to the other guys. The state said we're going ahead with football. What did that mean to you guys for your senior year, both of them?
That made me very excited. I was a little worried about it, but whenever I found that out, you know, it got me pumped up, ready to play.
Yeah, it got me really excited. I mean, without football, I mean, what kind of a senior year is it, you know? I mean, just you lose all that excitement about your senior year.
Well, Coach said, I think there's only like 9 of you, lost a big senior class last year. I'm sure your seniors have come together as leaders. Talk about the expectations for the season for the team.
I believe that I have high expectations. I think we're going to do a lot better than some people may think. I think that we look a lot better than people may think, and we'll do good this year.
And we don't have a lot of old guys we did last year, but the way that we're doing it now, I do have high expectations because the way that we're running practices and all this, and I feel like the platooning is really going to help because, you know, we ain't got that many old guys, and playing them both ways, I feel like, you know, now that we're platooning, we can just focus on one side of the ball and get a breath every now and again.
Coach, I want to talk about your schedule just a little bit. A lot of rivalry games on that schedule this year. It's been good for the team to get ready, and also good at the bank if you get that thing.
It is. That was one thing several years ago when we were 4A, and all of our region opponents were mainly in Huntsville, and not knocking, but a lot of private schools, and really hurt our income for a couple of years, you know. And you know, it's sad to say that's not why we play football, but we got to pay the bills too. But this year we got, if you look down that schedule, a lot of rival schools, and that's good for both of us as far as games. It's good for the fans. It's good for these kids to be able to play some of these. It works out really good that a lot of our rivals are in our region, so that makes it easy to schedule. And then of course we pick up and still play Southside in the 5 spot, which I think is going to become a really big rival game for both of us. And of course playing Hoax Bluff, which is not real smart on my part, in the 10 spot. But anyway, that gives us another rival game there. So you know, it's good, and fans know who they're playing. You know, we played some schools before, and they don't even know where they're at or where they're from, and that you know is, I don't know, that's real good. So I think it's a pretty good schedule for us competitive wise too.
Any other questions for Coach?
For you guys, just what's it like when you look down the schedule? Like Coach said, especially in region play lately, there's been a lot of teams kind of far off, but there are a lot of teams close by. Probably a lot of guys you know on those teams. Does that make it a little more exciting this season?
I think it does. I think it makes it a little bit more exciting that we get to travel more and, you know, kind of go down the road a little bit and see what's out there.
Yeah, I agree with what he said. It's fun getting to play people you don't see all the time, you know, getting to have new experiences.
Yeah, to the players, I know you guys are known for being a physical football team. That's what your coach does. So how excited are y'all to finally get the pads on and go to work?
I'm very excited.
Me too. It's been a little too long.
Coach, I asked Coach Rob, Coach, you've been around kids as a coach, 25, 30 years you've been doing it. What did you do in the interim between April, March, when they shut it down, till you could start back in practice that first day at the weight room?
Well, you know, as a lot of people said, you caught up on a lot of projects around the house that hadn't been done in years. Coaching, a lot of times you don't have time for that, but you know, I just, one of the things I told the kid, it made me reflect on this game a lot, why we play the game. Most of the time the last couple of years when I call the kids up pregame or whatever, I tell them, I say, remember why we play the game. And we play the game because it's fun. And, you know, these kids don't get paid, that kind of stuff, and that's the whole reason why they play. And, I kind of reflected on that, but what makes the game fun for me. And kind of, I guess, rededicated myself to the game a little bit, to the weight room and those kinds of things. And so, you know, that's what we're out here for. So the bottom line, yeah, we want to win games. We know that's what it's all about. But in the end, the whole thing is the experience and having fun playing the game. Hopefully these kids are going to be able to do that.
All right, Coach. Thanks a lot to you and the guys, and good luck to Sardis this year.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank you for having us, guys.